Okay, so we've got this really interesting set of sources here, and they're making a pretty bold claim, right?
Hmm.
Earning six figures without a college degree.
Yeah.
My big question going into this deep dive is, well, can they actually back that up, or is it more
It's a
complicated?
huge topic right now.
Definitely. Especially in 2025, it feels like skills, actual practical skills, are becoming just as valuable, maybe more valuable than that traditional diploma.
Right.
So, our mission here is simple: give you the fastest way to get fully up to speed on this specific idea based on what these sources are saying. A real shortcut to being informed.
And it's super relevant because we're seeing this uh, big shift in the job market.
Yeah.
You know, practical skills, things you can actually do, are really in demand. And the
Mm-hmm.
sources we looked at, they really highlight how online learning has made getting these skills, these high-value skills, much more accessible to, well, almost anyone.
Accessible, right?
It's fundamentally about getting expertise that solves real problems for businesses, tangible stuff.
Okay, let's get right to it then. These sources keep mentioning high income skills. What what exactly do they mean by that? Is it just about the money?
Well, the money's part of it for sure. They generally talk about a range, maybe $50,000 up to $150,000 a year, sometimes even more.
Okay.
But it's not just the income potential. According to the sources, these skills have three key things in common.
Which are?
One, they have to be in high demand in the market. Two, they need to be scalable, meaning you can grow your income with them. And three, crucially, they don't require that traditional university education.
No degree needed.
Exactly. But, and this is important, they do require other things, like serious focus, finding the right resources, which are often free or low cost online, and consistent effort, showing up every day.
Right, the daily grind. And the sources flash some examples, don't they? Like coding pops up, copywriting, digital marketing.
Yeah, sales, video editing too. Those are the main categories they focus on.
Okay, that gives us a good picture. Concrete skills. All right, so we know what defines them. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's actually unpack these top 5 skills the sources are highlighting.
Okay, first one up, in the tech world,
Hmm.
coding or programming. The sources pretty much call it the king.
King, huh? Why is that?
Well, it's about building things, obviously, but also automating processes, scaling solutions online. That's where the big value and the income comes in.
Makes sense.
They specifically mention learning the basics, like HTML and CSS for websites, the structure and the look, then JavaScript to make things interactive,
Right.
and also Python, which is incredibly versatile, used for web apps, data stuff, even AI. It's huge.
So those are the languages, but what about getting started? Like, if you know absolutely nothing, do the sources talk about how long it realistically takes, or where you actually go to learn?
That's a really practical question. They don't give like an exact number of weeks or anything, but the consistent message is daily practice, even just an hour or two a day. It can lead to real proficiency in months, not necessarily years.
Months, not years. That's encouraging.
And for platforms, yeah, they recommend specific ones, places like Free Code Camp, Codecademy, Coursera.
I've heard of those.
Right, because they often have structured paths and you build actual projects.
Yeah.
That's the key thing. They stress don't just watch videos, build things. Create that portfolio, that proof you can do it.
Proof of work. And the payoff. What kind of income are we talking?
The sources suggest entry-level developers can pretty readily hit $60 or more.
Yep.
And experienced people, they often clear 6 figures, sometimes well over.
Okay, 60,000 plus to start potentially. Not bad. So coding builds the thing, but how do people find it or find any business online? That sounds like digital marketing, skill number 2.
Exactly. Digital marketing tackles that massive problem every business has. How do we get noticed?
Huh?
How do we connect with customers online? Right. So mastering things like SEO, getting found on Google, running Google ads effectively, building email lists, creating sales funnels. You're solving a critical problem.
To become essential.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Because your work can often be directly linked to bringing in leads and ultimately sales. Revenue.
And for learning this stuff, the sources mentioned HubSpot Academy, Google Skill Shop.
Yeah, and Skillshare too. Those are great because they tend to be very practical, hands-on courses.
Yeah.
You learn by doing.
Makes sense. And the career path.
Often starts with freelancing, according to the material. Build experience with different clients, different projects. Then maybe scale up, start your own agency, manage bigger campaigns.
Okay, interesting. From freelance to agency. Now, once you have the visibility, how do you convince people to, actually buy or sign up? That sounds like words. Copywriting, content writing.
That's skill number 3. And the core idea the sources push is simple. Words sell, but it's strategic.
Strategic words.
Yeah, it's not just writing well, it's writing persuasively, writing in a way that makes people take action. Pick the button, buy the product, whatever it is.
And the earning potential there?
Can be really high. Good copywriters, the sources claim, can make thousands just for a single project because, again, their work directly impacts the bottom line. Conversions, leads, sales.
Wow, thousands per project. How do you even start learning that?
They suggest a few routes, maybe using AI tools like copy.ai to help, reading blogs like Neil Patel's for strategy,
Yeah.
or taking a dedicated course like copywriting course.
Okay.
And one really practical tip they give is just practice. Look at ads you see online. Try rewriting them. Figure out why they work or why they don't.
Deconstruct and reconstruct. I like that. Okay, skill number 4.
Video editing and content creation. Think about it, videos everywhere now, right?
Everywhere. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram.
Exactly. So YouTubers, brands, marketing agencies, they all desperately need people who can edit video well, craft compelling stories visually, creating engaging stuff. The demand is just massive.
So learning the tools is key here. Like CapCut on your phone, maybe? Or bigger software?
Yeah, the sources mention CapCut for quick edits. DaVinci Resolve is a really powerful free option for desktop. And then Adobe Premiere Pro is kind of the industry standard.
Got it. And how do you get work initially?
The advice is similar to marketing. Start small. Maybe offer your services on platforms like Fiverr or Upwork.
Build a portfolio?
Exactly. Get some projects under your belt, get testimonials. Then you can aim for bigger clients, maybe specialized in a certain type of video, like short form stuff or explainer videos. Scale it from there.
Okay, makes sense. Start small, scale up. That leaves one more skill. What's number 5?
High ticket sales, or sometimes called remote closing. This is really for people who are, naturally persuasive, good communicators.
Sales, basically, but high ticket.
Right. It means closing deals for higher priced products or services, usually over the phone or online. Think coaching programs, consulting, software deals, things like that.
And how does the money work there? Is it salary?
Typically, no. It's commission-based. And the sources indicate that these commissions can often beat regular salaries by a lot.
Ah, because you're directly bringing in significant revenue.
Precisely. You get paid directly for the value you create by closing those big deals. It's very results-oriented.
So what do you actually need to learn for that? Just how to talk well?
It's more than that. The sources mention learning specific sales scripts, mastering how to handle objections, when people say it's too expensive or I need to think about it.
Yeah, objection handling.
And also understanding sales psychology. What makes people buy? How do you build trust and rapport quickly? It's strategic communication.
Where do you learn that?
They suggest things like dedicated programs, maybe like the Remote Closing Academy, or just consuming the free content put out by top sales trainers online. There's actually a ton of good stuff available.
Okay, wow. So 5 really different skills there. Coding, marketing, copywriting, video, sales. Let's unpack this a bit more. We've gone through the skills, but for you listening right now, what does this actually mean? How do you start? And what's the biggest thing holding people back, according to these sources?
Right. The how-tos, the number one piece of advice across all the sources is crystal clear. Pick one. Just one skill to start.
Don't try to boil the ocean.
Exactly. Don't try to learn coding and video editing and copywriting all at once. You'll spread yourself too thin.
Focus.
Deep focus.
Yeah.
That's what they emphasize. Then it's about daily practice, consistency, and really importantly, building that portfolio, having something concrete to show people, proof of work.
Proof you can actually do the thing.
Yeah. And the biggest hurdle. The sources suggest it's often not about lacking talent or even resources. It's usually about lacking that consistent application, sticking with it day after day.
That makes sense. It's easy to get excited, harder to keep going. And what about the usual barriers, like needing degrees or lots of money to start?
Well, that's maybe the most encouraging part of what these sources claim. They're pretty adamant. You don't need permission from anyone. You don't need that traditional degree. You don't need thousands of dollars saved up.
Really? What do you need then?
The basics, mostly. A laptop, a decent internet connection, and, as they phrase it, the will to show up every day, that commitment.
Just a laptop, Wi-Fi, and the drive. That actually makes it sound achievable, less overwhelming.
Yeah, it reframes it as something within your control.
So, wrapping this up, There you have it, the path, or at least a path, to potentially earning significant income, maybe even the $100 K figure. Using in-demand skills without needing a formal degree, it's laid out pretty clearly by these sources we've explored.
Yeah, the blueprint is there.
Yeah.
But, knowledge is one thing, right? Applying it is another. It really comes down to thinking critically about which of these skills genuinely clicks with you.
Right.
Which one aligns with your interests? What are you naturally maybe a bit better at? Where do you see yourself long term? For you, looking at this list, which skill feels like maybe the most unexpected opportunity today?
Oh, that's a good one. I think maybe the high-ticket sales, it feels a bit under the radar compared to, say, coding. But that direct link between your skill and high earnings, that commission model, it's pretty powerful if you've got the knack for persuasion.
Interesting take.
So for you listening, after hearing about these 5 skills, coding, digital marketing, copywriting, video editing, and high-ticket sales, what stands out most? Which one makes you think, maybe that's something I could explore? Considering what you heard today, which skill might you actually look into learning first in 2025? Something to definitely think about.